Have you ever heard the words, "You look so much younger than your age," and instinctively smiled, attributing it to good habits, a healthy lifestyle, or perhaps a generous dose of good fortune in the genetic lottery? But what if that youthful glow that others notice in you is not simply a surface-level phenomenon? What if it is the visible imprint of something much deeper, an echo of your soul's inner light breaking through the boundaries of time? What if the vitality you carry is not merely preserved by physical means, but sustained by a different kind of energy, an emotional frequency, a spiritual force, a harmony that radiates outward from the very core of your being? This is not about vanity, and it certainly isn't about age-defying formulas. This is about the essence, presence, about the inner equilibrium of those who, without realizing it, live in alignment with the deeper truths of life. And today, we are going to explore the sacred mystery behind why some people seem to remain untouched by time, not through resistance, but through resonance. Because what if the youthful appearance that sets you apart is not a question of how you look, but who you are beneath the surface of appearances? A person who has made peace with life. A soul that has embraced its wounds and transmuted them into wisdom. A human being who, through inner work and emotional clarity, has become a vessel of lightness, clarity, and grace. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And that is precisely the terrain we are entering now, not the external world of creams and routines, but the interior landscape where your spiritual and emotional patterns shape not only your reality, but also your very presence. Those who awaken to themselves carry an energy that is unmistakable. It's in their voice, their gaze, and their stillness. It is the reason why people feel drawn to them without knowing why. It's not the absence of age, it's the presence of soul. In this video, we will uncover 9 powerful spiritual reasons why you may appear far younger than your biological age. These reasons have little to do with cosmetics and everything to do with the subtle intelligence of the heart. You'll discover how certain emotional rhythms, like joy, compassion, forgiveness, and presence, create an invisible radiance that no external product can replicate. You'll begin to understand why your body responds to your thoughts, why your face reflects the quality of your inner world, and how your life energy becomes an outward expression of your inner alignment. So, I invite you now to take a deep breath and enter this exploration with curiosity and openness. Because what lies ahead is not just a new perspective on aging, it is a new understanding of who you truly are. And when you see the reflection in the mirror, you may finally recognize it not as defiance of time, but as a testament to the soul that refuses to dim. This is the real secret to looking younger. When your spirit is nourished, your body remembers. Reason number 1, you are an old soul in a young body, and that is no coincidence. Have you ever wondered why certain individuals seem to carry a calming presence, a subtle peace that seems to linger in the room long after they've left? These are not just gentle personalities. These are old souls beings who have touched the depths of life, whether across lifetimes or through a profound journey in this one. Their youthfulness is not skin deep. It emanates from something far more enduring, a spirit that has traveled, seen, felt, and awakened. While the world may chase after youth through formulas and filters, the old soul embodies it by the way they walk through life, with grace, detachment, and deep inner knowing. Old souls are not loud. They do not demand attention. Their wisdom is not flashy but felt. It whispers through their silences, through the way they listen, through the way they smile at life's unpredictability instead of resisting it. They have learned, through experience, or perhaps through deep intuition, that there is a rhythm to life that cannot be forced, and in that surrender, they find peace. While others get pulled into storms of stress, urgency, and reactivity, the old soul becomes the eye of the storm, a presence of stillness amid chaos. And it is this stillness that preserves them. You see, emotional turbulence has a way of writing itself into the body. Unresolved bitterness furrows the brow. Chronic stress tightens the jaw. years of resisting what is, can wear down not only the soul, but also the face. But the old soul has learnt the art of release. They do not clutch pain like a badge. They allow it, learn from it, and let it flow through. This isn't detachment from life, it is intimacy with it. And that intimacy, that inner spaciousness, reflects outward. Fewer lines of worry, softer eyes, a face that mirrors acceptance rather than resistance. It is not about being untouched by hardship, but about not being defined by it. Look closely at those who have endured great trials, yet radiate warmth. Their smiles are real, not because life spared them, but because they chose grace over bitterness. Their presence feels lighter, not because they've avoided suffering, but because they've metabolized it into wisdom. It's as if their energy forms a subtle barrier, one that protects not only their spirit, but their very appearance from the erosion of negativity. So, if you've ever felt older in insight than your calendar years suggest, if you've found yourself finding beauty in silence, peace in solitude, and meaning in simplicity, then you are not merely aging well, you are living deeply. You are the paradox that Jung spoke of, the being who looks within and awakens. You are a soul that carries the past, yet walks in the present with eyes wide open, and that perhaps is the truest form of timelessness. Reason number 2. You are deeply connected to natural and mystical energies, and that connection is your sanctuary. Have you ever stepped into a room and felt your body recoil before a single word was spoken? Or walked through a quiet forest, stood beside the ocean, or rested beneath the night sky and felt a strange peace descend upon you, as if the universe itself had exhaled into your spirit? These are not accidents of mood or imagination. These are the sacred signals of a soul attuned to the deeper energies of existence. While many move through life asleep to the unseen, you sense what is present beneath the surface. You feel what cannot be spoken, and in this sensitivity there is both a gift and a shield. Those who seem to defy age often carry this silent communion with the natural and mystical worlds. They live in conversation with the earth. Their bodies respond to the pulse of the moon, the language of the wind, and the stillness between birdsongs. Their inner compass does not follow trends, noise, or societal urgency. It listens instead to resonance, and that resonance tells them what to walk toward and what to leave behind. When something feels off, they may not always explain it, but they know, and more importantly, they honor it. This ability to sense energy is not abstract or esoteric. It is as real as breath. It guides them away from toxic environments, away from draining relationships, away from crowded noise that does not nourish the soul. Instead, they surround themselves with what heals. Beauty, stillness, the rhythm of water, the language of trees, the embrace of quiet moments. They may not always be alone, but they are never disconnected, because their sanctuary is internal and their environment is chosen with care. And what does this have to do with how they look? Everything. You see, when you spend your life in harmony with the Earth's frequencies, your nervous system relaxes, your breath deepens, your thoughts are quiet, and your body, no longer assaulted by tension, has the space to heal, to glow, to return to its natural rhythm. The stress that carves lines into the face of the modern world finds no home in you. Your energy becomes lighter, your face softens, your smile becomes an invitation rather than a defense, and people are drawn to you not because you are trying, but because your presence feels like oxygen in a suffocating world. This is not fantasy, this is alignment. And when you are aligned with the universe, when you honor the voice of intuition, the pull of peace, and the healing touch of nature, it reflects in the subtlest, most powerful way, through your very presence, through the vitality of your body, through the timelessness of your glow. You are not just surviving, you are resonating. And that resonance is ageless. Reason number 3. You carry the rare gift of deep empathy, and it radiates through your being like a quiet light. In a world that often rewards detachment and speed, there are souls who move differently. You may be one of them, the kind of person who doesn't just listen to words, but feels the silence behind them. Who walks into a room and intuitively senses who is carrying sorrow, who is holding joy, and who is silently hoping to be seen without saying a thing. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is a form of emotional intelligence that borders on the sacred, and it is precisely this capacity for deep feeling that shields you from the wear and tear of a hardened world. Empathy, when it is conscious and integrated, is not a burden, it is an alchemy. Empaths who age gracefully have discovered something powerful, the ability to transform emotional energy rather than absorb it. They don't carry the weight of the world inside their chest. Instead, they let emotion move through them like wind through open windows. They acknowledge the pain they witness. They sit with it, honor it, and then release it. What stays is only what nourishes their soul: lessons, compassion, and insight. This subtle yet radical freedom protects their inner light. And it shows. Their faces are not sculpted by resentment, but softened by forgiveness. Their smiles carry the warmth of presence, not the tension of performance. Their eyes seem to understand more than they let on, not because they have all the answers, but because they've learned to hold space for both joy and sorrow without becoming consumed by either. They keep their hearts open, while standing firmly within the sanctuary of their own emotional boundaries. They've made peace with the truth that you can care deeply without carrying everything. This emotional clarity is why they glow. Their spirit flows freely. Their energy is not clogged with repressed emotion or unresolved conflict. Instead, it moves with the rhythm of healing, the current of self-honesty, and the choice to let love win. And so, even if their life has included storms, their essence remains unburdened. Their presence feels fresh, their energy light, and their bodies reflect the vitality of a soul that refuses to be calcified by bitterness. Empaths often look younger, not because they've avoided pain, but because they've chosen to keep their hearts soft through it. They find beauty where others rush past. They cry for people they hardly know, and celebrate the happiness of others as if it were their own. This is not just compassion, it is emotional resilience, wrapped in kindness. It is the refusal to let darkness define them, and in doing so, they become luminous. So, if you've ever felt the pulse of someone else's emotion as your own, if your joy and pain are often entwined with the lives around you, you are not merely sensitive. You are alive in a way that defies the dulling effect of time. Your glow is not a cosmetic illusion. It is the mark of a soul that has chosen love over fear, healing over harm, and openness over retreat. And that, in a world that often forgets how to feel, is its own kind of miracle. Reason number 4, you embody inner wisdom, and it shields you from the erosion of time. In a world addicted to urgency, where reaction often replaces reflection and overstimulation numbs the senses, there exist rare souls who move with quiet assurance. Perhaps you've met someone like this, or perhaps you are one of them. These individuals do not race through life chasing every fleeting noise. They breathe. They pause. And in that sacred pause, they see clearly. While others get swept into the storm of minor grievances or emotional turbulence, the wise step outside the swirl and anchor themselves in something deeper than circumstance. This way of being is not accidental. It is cultivated through experience, through contemplation, and often through suffering that has been transmuted into insight. People with true inner wisdom are not those who have avoided hardship, but those who have learned not to let hardship define them. They understand the difference between a moment and a lifetime. They know which fires require tending and which are better left to burn themselves out. This discernment, the ability to choose where to place one's energy, is one of the most sacred forms of self-preservation. They no longer feel the need to react to everything that challenges their peace. Not because they are indifferent, but because they have learnt to value the stillness within. Instead of being consumed by every demand, they step back and ask, will this matter to my soul? From this space of expanded awareness, they choose calm over chaos, wisdom over impulse, and clarity over confusion. This is the essence of psychological maturity, a conscious withdrawal from the things that do not nourish the spirit. And here is what many overlook. This emotional equilibrium not only soothes the mind, it also protects the body. Chronic stress, unprocessed anger, constant worry, these are the true architects of premature aging. But when the nervous system is not constantly hijacked by drama, when the heart is not perpetually clenched in anxiety, the body softens. The skin holds fewer lines. The eyes retain their brightness. The energy field surrounding such individuals becomes lighter, clearer, almost magnetic. This is not superficial beauty. It is the visible imprint of serenity. Their faces do not wear the weight of daily battles, because they no longer fight battles that do not belong to them. Their presence feels peaceful, not because life has been easy, but because they have chosen peace again and again, especially when it wasn't. And this choice, this silent, recurring commitment to inner harmony, creates a timelessness that no external remedy can provide. So, if you have ever felt that your presence grows stronger in stillness, if you instinctively step back before reacting, or if you've learned to let go of things that once consumed you, know this: you are living from the wisdom of your soul. And in that wisdom, your body remembers how to rest, how to glow, and how to resist the pull of time. You are not simply aging, you are evolving, and through that evolution, you remain ever luminous. Reason number 5, you lead with kindness and it lifts the weight of time from your face. In a world that often rewards sharpness over softness and where hurt is met with retaliation rather than understanding, there are rare individuals who still choose to walk the path of kindness, not because life has been gentle to them, but precisely because it has not. These people have been bruised, misunderstood, and perhaps even betrayed, yet they carry no venom in their hearts. They respond with compassion when it would be easier to close off, and in this radical choice to lead with love, something remarkable happens. Not just in the soul, but in the body. Kindness, when lived sincerely, becomes an energy that flows through your entire being. It's not loud or performative. It doesn't demand applause or recognition, it simply is. It softens the lines that disappointment might have carved. It loosens the tension that fear might have gripped. It lifts the weight that sorrow might have settled across the shoulders. Because when you release bitterness, you release the heavy emotional residue that ages you long before your time. You allow your nervous system to relax, your breath to deepen, and your entire presence to settle into peace. Those who live with kindness as their compass often radiate a certain calm. Their smiles are not forced, but flow from an inner spring of warmth. Their eyes do not dart with suspicion, but offer the quiet reassurance of safety. Their faces may carry the marks of years, but not their bitterness. There is a grace to them that feels timeless, as though life's harsh winds have brushed against them, but never found a place to settle. This kind of presence becomes magnetic. Being around someone who forgives easily, who does not carry resentment like armor, who sees humanity in even the flawed, makes others feel lighter too. You don't just look younger when you live like this, you feel younger, because you are not dragging the invisible weight of unresolved emotions. You are not exhausting your body by clinging to old pain. Instead, you are flowing with life, and life responds by keeping your spirit bright and your body light. Carl Jung believed that what is not made conscious will rule us from the shadows, and unresolved anger, guilt, and judgment, when left unexamined, do just that. But kindness is a conscious act. It is a declaration that says, I choose to stay open, even in a world that tempts me to close. That act of staying open is what keeps your energy in motion, your mind youthful, and your essence untouched by the heaviness that often dulls the soul. So if you are someone who chooses kindness over retaliation, who lets go instead of clinging, who meets life not with fists, but with an open hand, then know this: you are doing more than being good. You are healing the world through your presence. In the process, you are healing yourself, preserving not only your beauty, but also your sacred light. Reason number 6. You know how to adapt. And that flexibility keeps your spirit forever young. Life, in its true essence, is a river, unpredictable, winding, and never still. And yet, so many of us try to freeze it, to hold on to fixed plans and rigid expectations, believing that control brings security. But here's the quiet truth. The more we resist change, the heavier life becomes. The more we grip what no longer fits, the more our soul contracts. Over time, this inner resistance begins to etch itself across our bodies, in furrowed brows, tense shoulders, and eyes dulled by the weight of trying to force outcomes that were never ours to control. Yet there are those who move through this unpredictable terrain with a different energy. They bend with the winds, adjust their sails when the current shifts, and somehow seem to remain light even in the midst of upheaval. These individuals are not naive nor passive. They are profoundly awake, and their secret is adaptability. They understand that while they may not control what happens, they always hold power in how they respond. Instead of clenching when life changes course, they open. They ask, "What is this moment asking of me?" And they listen, not just with their mind, but with their whole being. Carl Jung once taught that wholeness is not achieved by suppressing parts of ourselves, but by embracing the full spectrum of our experience. This includes change, loss, surprise, and renewal. Adaptable people embody this. They do not see challenges as punishment, but as invitations. Every obstacle becomes a mirror, reflecting back a hidden strength or an old pattern ready to be released. And in this act of conscious surrender, they free themselves from the emotional baggage that weighs others down. They do not carry the ghost of what should have been. They carry the wisdom of what is. And this freedom, it shows. Their posture is not slumped with regret. Their face is not drawn from wrestling with what they cannot change. Instead, they walk with a grace that feels almost fluid, their energy unburdened, their presence magnetic. There is a natural glow in their skin, not because they chase youth, but because they don't fight life. They dance with it. And in that dance, tension dissolves, joy returns, and the body responds by relaxing, softening, and brightening. Think back to the last time you felt truly alive. It was likely not during a moment of control, but in a moment of surrender, when you let go of expectations and fully entered the present. People who know how to adapt live in that space more often than not. They trust the process, even when it is uncertain. They find meaning in transition, beauty in discomfort, and renewal in every detour. Because they do not resist the rhythm of life, they are not exhausted by it. And this is the quiet miracle. Their spirit remains youthful, not because life has been easy, but because they've learned how to move with it, not against it. So if you've ever found strength in uncertainty, if you've learned how to bend without breaking and love without demanding permanence, then know this: your ability to adapt is not just survival, it is grace in motion. And it is that very grace that keeps you glowing from the inside out. Reason number 7. You carry a positive and optimistic spirit, and that inner light is what keeps your soul youthful. There is something quietly radiant about a person who, even after life has tested them, still chooses to believe in the goodness of tomorrow. In a world so often dominated by cynicism and fatigue, optimism is not a naive luxury, it is a spiritual discipline. People with a hopeful heart do not pretend that pain doesn't exist. They simply refuse to let it be the final truth. Where others see dead ends, they perceive doorways. Where most feel defeated, they ask, what can still be born from this? Carl Jung taught that our inner world shapes our outer reality, and optimism is an alchemical force. It transforms. When the mind chooses gratitude over grievance, and the heart chooses wonder over worry, something profound shifts in the body. The tension that dulls the eyes and hardens the jaw begins to soften. The weight that settles into the shoulders begins to lift. Optimistic people smile more easily, not because life has always been kind to them, but because they have learned to find meaning even in life's uncertainties. This choice, to see the light, even in moments of darkness, does more than shift mood. it changes biology. Science has long confirmed what ancient wisdom already knew. A hopeful mind reduces stress, regulates the heartbeat, and accelerates healing. But beyond the data lies a deeper truth. Positivity is magnetic. It draws people in. It softens conflict. It brings levity to heavy spaces. And most beautifully, it keeps the human spirit agile, supple, and vibrant. If you are someone who still finds joy in small things and looks at the sunrise with awe, no matter how many sunrises you've seen, you are already practicing the kind of soul care that keeps you young. Your body knows when your heart is at peace. Your face remembers the shape of joy. Your eyes carry the brightness of someone who believes there is still beauty left in the world. And every genuine laugh, every kind thought, every hopeful breath becomes a quiet rebellion against the erosion of time. It is easy to grow hardened in a world that often disappoints. But those who remain open, who still believe in miracles, who expect love to return and hope to rise again, they are the ones who do not age from the inside out. Their spirit remains elastic, untouched by bitterness. And that spiritual flexibility, that sacred lightness, becomes visible in their being. So, if you find yourself believing that something beautiful is always just around the corner, know this. Your optimism is not only a gift to the world, it is a balm to your soul. It is why you still glow. It is why people feel better simply being around you. And it is why, while others count years in numbers, you live yours in radiance. Reason number 8. You carry the energy of the chosen one, and it silently illuminates the path not only for others, but for your own soul. In every generation, there are those rare individuals who do not need to speak loudly to be heard. They move through the world with a quiet gravity, as if tethered to something ancient and sacred. While others seek recognition, these souls radiate from within. They are not drawn to the spotlight, yet, when they enter a room, the air seems to shift. There is a stillness about them, a warmth, a clarity, and though many may not know how to describe it, they feel it, they sense it. These are the ones Jung would say are in alignment with the self, the true center of the psyche, where the conscious and the unconscious unite in purpose. Perhaps you are one of them. You may not always understand why people are drawn to you in their darkest moments, why strangers open their hearts to you without explanation, or why you carry such an instinctive urge to comfort, to guide, to heal. But deep within, you felt it. A call that cannot be explained by logic. A sense of mission not built on ego, but on essence. You are not just living, you are serving a truth that transcends personal need. And in that sacred offering, you are transformed. People like you carry the burdens of others without becoming bitter. You listen not to fix, but to truly hear. You speak not to be right, but to restore. This is not merely kindness. This is spiritual resonance. This is what it means to be chosen, not in the sense of superiority, but of responsibility. A responsibility to be a mirror of light in a world that often forgets how to see. A responsibility to remain open-hearted, even when it hurts. And through that sacred surrender, your own soul is kept luminous. When your life is tethered to meaning, something extraordinary happens. You stop aging in the ways the world expects. The soul, when nourished by purpose, refuses to grow tired. It refuses to decay under the weight of superficial stress. Your face begins to carry peace instead of strain. Your posture softens into presence. Your voice calms, your eyes brighten, and your spirit moves lightly, untouched by the noise of the world. You begin to embody what Jung described as individuation, the awakening of the inner self into wholeness. And that wholeness is not just beautiful, it is preserving. It is why you glow without trying. It is why people feel safe in your energy. It is why, even as the years pass, you remain untouched by the erosion of time. You are not aging, you are evolving. And evolution, when rooted in love and aligned with the sacred, does not decay. It deepens, it purifies, it preserves. So if you've ever wondered why your presence alone brings calm and why you often feel both tired and timeless, it is because your life is no longer just your own. It belongs to something greater. And that greater mission is what keeps your soul and your body quietly and beautifully young. Reason number 9. You live with a sense of wonder, and that wonder keeps your soul forever in bloom. In a world that often teaches us to harden, to become skeptical, to trade awe for apathy, there are still those rare souls who resist the dulling of the heart. While others grow older and slip into mechanical routines, weighed down by burdens and beliefs that life has lost its magic, you have held on to something sacred. You still marvel at the ordinary. You still notice the way sunlight dances through leaves, or how laughter echoes like a hymn through a quiet room. You pause not because you must, but because something within you whispers that this moment, this fleeting fragment of time, is a miracle. And in that pause, in that quiet reverence, you keep your spirit young. This is not the innocence of naivety, but the wisdom of a heart that has chosen not to close. Carl Jung spoke often of the child archetype, not as a stage to grow out of, but as an eternal presence within the psyche, a symbol of renewal, imagination, and wholeness. To live with wonder is to remain connected to this archetypal force. It is to resist the temptation of spiritual resignation. It is to stay alive inside. When you live this way, something extraordinary happens. Your body listens, your mind lights up, your nervous system softens, curiosity stimulates the brain, keeping it agile and engaged. Gratitude quiets the stress response, and wonder, in all its quiet power, lifts the heaviness from your being. It's no surprise that people who carry this joy seem to glow effortlessly. They walk not with haste, but with grace. They speak with warmth, not weariness. There is a light in their eyes that no product can replicate and no routine can fabricate. It is the glow of a soul in communion with life itself, and that light is magnetic. Others may not know what it is, but they feel it. They wonder what your secret is, how you manage to move through the world with such brightness, even in a world that can be so heavy. The truth is simple. You have not abandoned your sense of wonder. You still believe that the world holds beauty, that love is real, that joy is a choice. And that belief nourishes you. It becomes a kind of inner nectar that renews you from within. So, if you still find magic in the moonlight, if your heart lifts at the sound of music, or you smile at the smallest of blessings, know this: your youthfulness is not an illusion. It is the natural result of a spirit that has remained open, a psyche that has not been shut by the weight of experience, but deepened by it. You are not escaping reality. You are deepening your relationship with it. And that depth, that wonder, that devotion to the sacred within the ordinary is why time passes over you gently, leaving behind not wear, but radiance. Could it be that the youthful glow others notice in you is not merely a matter of chance, but a reflection of something sacred? A mirror of the love you've extended when it would have been easier to shut down, of the wisdom you've earned, not through ease, but through inner alchemy, and of the serenity you've chosen in a world that often thrives on noise. Perhaps this radiance is not cosmetic but spiritual. Perhaps it is your soul's quiet response to a life lived with intention, presence, and heart. If you found yourself in any of these 9 truths, or perhaps in all of them, pause for a moment. Breathe, and honor the path you've walked to become who you are. In a society that constantly seeks answers outside the self, it is a rare power to realize that the way you live, think, feel, and love is shaping not just your days, but your very vitality. You are proof that youth is not a phase to be mourned, but an energy to be sustained by the soul's alignment with what is true. Carl Jung often reminded us that we are not what happened to us, but who we choose to become through it. And you, with your wonder, compassion, courage, and depth, are becoming someone luminous. Your story matters. Your presence is healing. and your way of being in this world is no small thing. It is a quiet revolution. We invite you now to share your reflections. Which of these insights resonated most deeply with your journey? Have you ever sensed that subtle but undeniable connection between the way you carry your spirit and the way you carry your age? Leave a comment below. Your truth, shared from the heart, may become the thread that helps someone else feel seen, feel understood, or feel whole again. Because sometimes what keeps us young isn't just what we believe, it's knowing we are not alone in believing it.